blessed Mississippi Camp. Giving all honor and glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahashim Hausai, Bahashim Rakakadas. I also want to give double honors to our elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Mill, Snow, well. Peace and blessings, health and wellness to the house of David the Black. Shema, Yashala, Yahweh, Allah Yanawa, Yahweh, Achad, Shema, Yashala, Yahweh, Allah Yanawa, Yahweh, Achad, Shema, Yashala, Yahweh, Allah Yanawa, Yahweh, Achad. All right, and hey, what I want to go into today is a topic entitled, "This was an education of wickedness," man. All right, this was an education. If you look at the world and its estates, all right, if you look at the evilness that goes on, if you look at, Eve, all right, women, and one of the biggest topics on YouTube is how females are in America or in the Western world, all right? All right, how females are, the health crisis. All right, if you look at the atrocities that happen in the planet, you look at, broken families, you look at the alphabet community, you look at Edomite supremacy, you look at, all right, pollution in the air, all right, you look at, all right, the street culture, black culture, you look at the abortion rate, you look at, infidelity, you look at just backstabbing culture, backdoor culture. This was an education of wickedness. All right, this was an education of wickedness, man. All right, going back to the garden, all right, where Adam and Eve, they took the philosophy, all right, they took the philosophy of the knowledge of good and evil, but they did not understand that the knowledge of good and evil would entail that they had to experience all these things. That we as a nation, the sons of Adam, the sons of Yahweh, in order to receive the knowledge of good and evil, you have to experience these things. All right, and we experience it through different captivities. We had to experience it through going through Babylon, going through the Grecian Empire and the Roman Empire. That entailed the knowledge of good and evil. You see? And the result was, God is kicked out of the garden. All right, is equivalent to you living under your father's house, following your father's rules, and somebody manipulates you or somebody seduces you into rebelling from your father. Thou shalt not surely die. He just don't want you to understand that you'll be just like your father and have authority. You see, he's trying to hold you down, or he's trying to hold you back. I mean, all right, but in turn, you disobey your father. And you jump out there in the streets, and through jumping out there in the streets, you learn all type of shit. You learn the very thing that he was protecting you from, all right? And same thing with our people, all right? This was an education of what it meant to disobey God. So you want to understand the knowledge of good and evil, because what is good and evil? Essentially, it's a balance. It's a balance. Proverbs 11:1 says what? A false balance is an abomination to Yahweh. So in the grand scheme of things, the Most High knows the nature of his people. We were childlike in the garden. All right, we had that childlike curiosity that I speak on in other topics and other lessons. Okay, and he knew that we were going to follow the serpent. He set up the serpent. All right, like I said, there was a grand scheme when it came to the Heavenly Father. But in order to understand the knowledge of good and evil, we had to experience it through different captivities. And ultimately, we had to experience it in America. And America was definitely an education of knowing the knowledge of evil. America was definitely the education of knowing the knowledge of evil. America was definitely the education of knowing the knowledge of evil. Okay? You see? So the things that you see around you, sometimes, man, you'll get into your bag, you'll get into your feelings, you might get to drinking, get to thinking, and you'll be thinking about the evilness of women, you'll be thinking about adultery, you'll be thinking about feminism, you'll be thinking about bullshit on your job, and just as the bitterness of the Matrix, the bitterness of America. You be thinking about slavery. You be thinking about just how messed up Esau has the world. But Esau was a tool to show you how the earth is ran under wicked authority. All right? Esau was a tool to show an example of how the earth is ran under wicked authority. All right? It tells you in Proverbs 29, around the second chapter, I believe it's the second chapter, the second verse, when the righteous are in authority, the people, when the righteous are in authority, all right, the people are happy. I'm definitely roughly paraphrasing. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. All right? When the wicked bear rule, the people mourn, man. All right? So this is an education of wickedness, and we're inside of the movie. Just like Neo in the Matrix, Morpheus brought him into the Matrix and showed him, when you get up and go to work in the morning, you're watching people live out their scripts within the Matrix. You're watching them live out their role, man. It's as though you have a video game and you have a whole bunch of people in a video game. You can zero in on that person. You can watch a Sims game. You can watch a Sims game. You just kind of look at characters. Well, you're looking at characters when you look at your coworkers. You look at characters. These are people who are unplugged. No, they're plugged. I'm sorry, they're plugged into the Matrix. Okay. When a wicked beareth rule, the people mourn, man. You know, when a wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. But this is definitely the knowledge of the education of wickedness. As a result of Adam and Eve partaking in the philosophy of the forbidden metaphorical fruit or allegorical fruit, which is the knowledge of good and evil. But the knowledge of good and evil came from experience. All right, the knowledge of good and evil came from experience. This is an experience. This is an experience. So why do we go through this? It tells you that the saints are going to judge the world. A part of the trait, part of the thing that merit us judging the world is that we know what wickedness is. The thing that makes you a judge is that you know what good is and you know what evil is. You know what happens if you liberate women from being chaste virgins before they get with a man. You know what happens when you make it a culture to commit adultery. You know what happens when you liberate people through a philosophy that allows them not to follow the dietary laws. You know what happens when you put a moral man in a position of authority. All right, you know what happens when you allow people to be a part of the alphabet community. Sins that are worthy of death, they're permissible in this society. You see what happens, all right? You see what happens when you allow Israelites to get tattoos. You see what happens when you make murder a culture, death the culture, right? You see what happens when the confusion that happens, like I said, when you liberate women from being expected to be virgins when they get a man. The confusion, the baby daddy, the mores, the you are not the fathers. You see, this is an education. So now, all right, I was willing, we are the 1/3, we are the elect. We get those crowns. The crowns are not just for glory. The crowns is a qualification. It's a qualification to rule. And you're qualified to rule. For one, you overcame the matrix, but secondly, you finished your education. You got your degree. All right? You got your certification. All right? You got your certification because now you are a qualified ruler. Now you are a qualified ruler. In order to judge these nations, you have to know, you have to understand wickedness. Truth be told, in order to understand people, or in order to understand humans, in order to judge humans, you have to understand human nature. When we get those bodies that are immortal, all right, and they're going to be perfect bodies, they're going to be wired for perfection. All right, you're going to judge people who don't have immortal bodies. So in order to understand them, you have to have been in their shoes, because all humans are subject to human nature, and human nature is purposely contrary to the laws. So that's what makes you a judge. You're going to be judged by people who are innately not perfect. They're not perfect because they're hardwired against the laws. So you have to regulate these people, but in the same breath, in the past life, or under the rulership of Esau Edom, you were imperfect. All right, you were hardwired to sin. So now you have to regulate these people under the rule of Yahweh Shai. All right, the earth is under the rule of the elites right now, but soon it's going to be under the rule of Yahweh Shai. All right, and then his 144,000 rulers. You see? You understand? But this was an education. The way this dark world is, the fruit. This is like, I vaguely remember, but that was like the movie Cinderella, one of the recent movies Cinderella. Just when a wicked queen took over, everything was just dried up. When you go back to Lion King, all right, when Scar took over, the habitation was dark and desolate. And now if you look at it in this time, in our reality, all right, the fruit are stripped of nutrients. The vegetation, the produce is stripped of nutrients. It's seedless, all right? The women are stripped of femininity, all right? The men are stripped of masculinity, all right? Men are not even sexually competent in a lot of cases, all right? We live in a real dark time, man. We live in a very, dark time, okay? Because there's one man that's ruling, and his one man that's ruling, all right, and his rulership is causing death. This is you're watching decay, whether it's a moral decay, an economic decay, a geographical decay. All right, we're watching decay on all sides, man. And this is an education, and Yahweh Shai is really coming to reverse decay, to defeat decay, and to bring life. Hence, Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. All right, but with that, I do hope you brothers and sisters were edified. Once again, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakodash. Double honors to our elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone Ruel. Peace and blessings, health and wellness to the house of David the elect. All right, Abba, Kamiyah, Shalom, Shalom.